Hello, so I'm back with another vlog. As you can tell by the general stripy blue attire of my bangles I just hit of moi, and the layout of where I'm sitting right now. I'm following this up really quickly after a vlog that I did last time. I don't know how long in between these vlogs are going to be released, but I'm filming this at the same time because I wanted to talk about a couple of topics today. So this topic is going to be a little bit further set away from the ragey sort of screw the haters kind of idea that I was talking about in my vlog before. Instead, I'm going to be talking about something very different, a little bit of a more gentle subject, I guess, a softer subject. And this is one which I've talked about with quite a few people in the recent recent weeks. Various people, various friends, and figures in my life and things like that. And I wanted to talk about the concept of soulmates and love and relationships and things like that, because I think it's a very interesting topic that a lot of people have different opinions on. That sorry, my hair's been poking me in the eye all day, and it's just distracting me now. It's a topic which a lot of people have different opinions on and different approaches to, so I kind of wanted to offer my approach on the idea of soulmates and love and things like that. So let's start with soulmates. Let's start with the concept of soulmates. So question one, I guess, is like, do you believe in, soulmates? Do I believe in soulmates? And yes, I do believe in soulmates, but my definition might be a bit different from other people's definitions, or it might be the same, you never know, we might have the same definition. So I'm just going to go into it a little bit, because recently I've been very reflective about a lot of the people that I know in life, and a lot of the people I'm lucky to be friends with and really close with, and it's just an interesting topic that I kind of wanted to talk about, it's a way of telling everyone collectively what they mean to me without individually necessarily being like, this is exactly what that means. And so let's go into soulmates a bit. So for me, for a lot of people, I'll start with a lot of people first. For a lot of people, soulmate, the name soulmate, the word soulmate means like the one you want to spend your life with, the one that you are going to love forever and endlessly and eternally, and you were meant to be with each other, and the stars aligned and the planets clashed and meteors fell from the sky, when you meet, and your heart stopped and you looked across the room and you met eye to eye and it was love at first sight. Like that's stupid. I want to talk about love at first sight as well, but let's talk about soulmates first. It's not stupid. It's what some people believe, and that's fine. But for me personally, I look at the people around me, and there are so many people who I have got such a deep connection with, and it's not about love and romantic attachment for me. It's just about the people who you just groove together well. Like, from the get-go, you can talk about, you feel like you can talk about anything and everything that you want to with that person, and, you're not scared, necessarily, of saying the wrong thing because you know that they'll understand, and you know that they won't shun you or push you aside. It's someone who you could spend hours and hours talking to about almost nothing and never get bored of it. They're the people who, you can do anything and everything with. You want to experience activities with them. That sounds kind of vaguely sexual, but you want to, it would be someone who you'd be happy to go on a picnic with, but also happy to go skydiving with, and also happy to visit, like, a random country foreign and far away with. Like, someone who you can happily do so many things with. People who you just don't get tired of, people who understand you, people who you can not talk to for like a month and then come back to and be just like that, back into conversation with them. People who that you want to know for the rest of your life. And I do have a nice, small, very, very, very precious set of people like that in my life. And I want to say to, all of those people how much you mean to me. And these people, I do believe, and it sounds like I don't normally use the term soulmate. Like, I very rarely use it. I kind of avoid it just because of its kind of more romantic attachments. But, like, platonically wise, I have a small group of people who I believe are soulmates to me, people who I want to know and keep with me for the rest of my life. And they can be friends, they could be lovers, they could be family members, they can be, anything. But I think at the end of the day, it's people who you would do anything for. Like, you would do anything for. You would cross an ocean if you could afford it to, see them. At the very least, you would drop anything for them to help them in any way you can. And when they're in pain, you feel their pain too. And you know, it really hurts when you see the people that you love hurting as well. So I kind of wanted to tackle that issue a little bit. You know, there's a very few group of people that I would say I love. And again, love, I mean, in not necessarily a romantic sense. It could just be a platonic sense. But there's people who, you know, I do love and care about so, so much. And I don't say that enough. Some people I've never even said it to, just because I think I kind of shy away from the, you know, connotations that the word love actually has. But there are so many amazing people in my life, and I'm so happy to have those people who I do feel such a deep connection with. So I think that soulmates, at the end of the day, for me, it's not a romantic thing. It's just a strong relationship, a very strong connection, an iron grip that, you know, can't be broken easily at all unless there's like a huge, massive, scary chainsaw monster coming through it. But, you know, like every relationship has the potential to be, you know, to rift and to break apart. But at the end of the day, soulmates are ones that it would take a really, really big rift to tear people apart. So that's kind of my thought on soulmates. I'll kind of move on to, so leading on from the kind of more platonic-y thing to the more sort of romantic and love thing, love at first sight. This is actually, oddly, a question I've gotten quite a lot on Ask FM, and I think I answered it a little while ago, like, you know, maybe a year or two ago, like a while ago. But I still get it now and then. People asking, like, do you believe in love at first sight? Do you believe that, you know, you've met the one immediately? And, you know, again, I think that is, like, this is something I actually feel very strongly on. Love at first sight, whether it's real or not, and I don't think it's real, it is an absolutely ridiculous concept. Love at first sight is a purely looks-based, like, purely looks-based. If you see them and you're like, you know, that's complete sight. You know, you see someone across the room, you're like, aha, I love them. Like, you know. And B, I think I said one to start off with, so 1 and B, we'll go with that. It's like an immediate reaction, and like, you know, it was so cute to think that as soon as I saw her, she was the most beautiful woman in the room, and I knew that I loved her, and I had to take her out to dinner there and then. Like, that's cute and all, but at the end of the day, if a guy ever said that to me, I would be like, whoa, dude, slow down, take it down a notch, and just think about what you're saying. Like, you know, you've just met me. You can't possibly claim that after just meeting me. Everybody has different layers of masks that they show, and you've seen my topmost mask because you've just met me. You just met me. Like, if I were to take off another mask, another, so you get down to the deep core of who I am, how can you say this is love at first sight if you don't even know that part of me? And I really don't think you can properly say you love people until you get down to that meaty center core of that person. I think it's an absolutely ludicrous idea. I believe in lust at first sight. Sure, lust at first sight. People get that all the time. You see someone across the room and you're like, I do him. That's quite a crude way of saying it, but like, you know, there is lust at first sight, and I believe that there is attraction at first sight, for, you know, for sure. Like, there's loads of people who, and again, this is kind of, I guess, more platonic-y than anything. Attraction, for me, it could just be like, I want to get to know them. I want to know who they are as a person. I want them to know me. I want to talk to them, you know, all night long just to get to know them. Like, that is just, like, general attraction, whether it's lustful or whether it's just platonically. You know, you can have attraction at first sight very easily. But I think for me, the idea of love at first sight is a really ridiculous concept because you don't know the person. How do you know if you love them or not? And I think as well, if you were to know me inside and out, as a person, I would still say you don't love me. Like, you can't love someone until you've been through experiences with them as well. If you were to, like, imagine I'm a book that you've just read from, you know, front page to back page. So yeah, you know the book really well, congrats, but I don't think you necessarily love the book yet. It has to be a book which you've read again and again and again. Maybe it's a book that has helped you through a rough time. Maybe you were going through a really difficult time in your life and you read this book and it really helped you through it. That's kind of what love is to me. It's someone who you don't just know really well and, you know, really like them as a person. It's someone who you've been through stuff together. It's kind of the same thing with couples. Couples can, like, you know each other for a few months and maybe they get on really well with talking and things like that and they're like, oh, sweet, let's get married and move in straight away. And it's like, you need that experience with them. You need to have gone through things with them. I think every couple should have at least, you know, one semi-serious fight before they even consider like marriage or something like that. Because if you can get through a fight, that is so important. Like, you don't want it to be where one fight, you know, breaks you apart. It's like building a table, and you've eaten really small dishes with just biscuits on and stuff off this table, you know, for like a year, and you're like, oh, that's great, this table must be the best table ever, I'm going to keep this table forever. But then as soon as you put something heavy on it and it breaks, like, how do you know? You got to stress test it, just like you got to stress test a relationship. And if it doesn't do well under stress, then something is up. And the way that you do the stress test is by going through experiences with these people. It's by, you know, going on a holiday with them, or, you know, going to a convention with them, or spending a week at theirs or something, live together for a little bit at least, you know, cooking together, and, you know, going on little adventures together. Maybe it's something a bit scarier, like scuba diving or skydiving or like treetop climbing or something like that. You know, it's about working through deadlines together and being able to help each other with that work and with those deadlines. It's about being able to talk about things that have bothered you during the day. Maybe you've been really upset by something and you need to talk through it with that person, and that person helps you and takes that time out of their life to help you and get through that. Like, you need to go through all these experiences with someone, I think, before you can genuinely say that this is worthwhile and that I love them. Like, that is something that's really, really important to me, I think. So I think love at first sight is just an excuse for people to get in other people's pants, basically. That sounds quite harsh, and it might be quite a cynical view, but I definitely believe that's the case. And, like, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, people who have met each other and immediately ask the other person for coffee and stuff, like, that can't live to be, like, a, you know, a long and healthy and fruitful relationship. Like, that's great. But at the same time, I think people put too much weight into first impressions and whether they're good or not. I think, you know, it's silly. What if you have you could have a bad first impression with someone, but then later on you really get to know who they are, and maybe they just weren't that great that day. And then you might actually end up falling in love with them someday, and that's lovely. And I think love starts off in a lot of different ways, you know, very unexpected ways a lot of the time. And I think there's no kind of clear-cut thing for love. I've actually had quite a few friends ask me, like, what do relationships, and, like, how do you do a relationship? How do I ask this girl out? How do I know if she likes me or not? Or, like, you know, how do I know how to go on a date with this guy? Or, like, how do you make a guy stick? Or how do you know when they're the one? And there's no answer, and I think that's the beautiful, beautiful thing about love and about relationships, is that they're never the same, they're never straightforward. And yeah, that can be terrifying, that can be absolutely bonkers, and you can feel so scared to tell that person how you feel, or so scared to take that risk, or so scared to, you know, ask someone to marry them, or ask someone to move in, or something like that. Like, it is so scary, but it's also such a beautiful thing, because you're putting so much trust into that person to not hurt you. And that's just a beautiful thing about relationships, I think, is that they are so different. No two are the same. You've got your own unique story with this person that, you know, started off, it might have started off like a fairy tale, or it might have started off with you being, you know, mortal enemies, but either way, there's no straightforward answer for how to do a relationship or how to be in a relationship. It just happens in different ways for different people, and it depends on you as a person, and it depends on the person who you're dating or who you're friends with or whatever as a person. And I think it's just important to realise that there is no right or wrong way to do it. What works for one person might not work for another person, and that's fine. And people have different beliefs about, you know, what they're attracted to and what they're not, and what makes a good person, what doesn't make a good person, what counts as a really good first date and what doesn't. Oh, should I kiss him on a first date? Is that too much? Is that too little? Oh, should we have sex on a first date? Is that too much? Is that too little? And that, you know, works for different people, and whatever works for you is fine. And you shouldn't let people tell you, you know, when it's wrong or not. I mean, there are some exceptions, like illegal exceptions, but generally speaking, you know, you shouldn't think that you're ever doing it wrong. Maybe you get your first date at, you know, 12. Maybe you get your first date at 20. Maybe you don't get a first date until you're 30 or 40. Like, you know, love is something that is so precious to us, and it's something which I think a lot of people take for granted, but also it's something that a lot of people know is really important to them. It's something which gets us through the everyday sometimes, and I think people need to realise that it really is something you can't rush. I had, you know, my first boyfriend when I was 13, which lasted a few months, I think. And I had my first more serious boyfriend when I was 16, which lasted less than a year. You know, and now I'm in a relationship that's lasted, you know, it's coming up towards, you know, 3 years this year. Like, And I didn't go on a proper date until I was 17. Like, my first date when I was 17. And for me then, I felt like I was doing it wrong, because a lot of my friends had been on dates and a lot of them had boyfriends. But looking back now, 17 seems really, really young, and I know people who still haven't been on dates who are in their 30s. And that's fine. It's almost nice, in a way, because then you've still got that chance to experience it for the first time sometime. And, you know, and there's so many different ways to do it as well. First date might just be, let's grab a coffee. First date might just be, why don't you come around mine and let's play video games. First date might be, I'm taking you to the Ritz for dinner. Like, it can mean so many different things, and it is such a beautiful, like, love is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I love seeing and hearing about everyone's different experiences with it. And it just makes me so happy to know about it. So I guess I wanted to clarify a few things with you about what I mean when I think of soulmates, and what I mean when I think of love at first sight and things like that. Because love is such an important thing to me. It's a really important thing in my life. I could not be where I am if it wasn't for the people around me who I love and who love me in return. And I don't think I'll go anywhere in the future without them either. You know, I'm a bit shy and a bit introverted sometimes, but I'm like an extroverted introvert. I'm very strange. I'm an outgoing introvert, but I need the people around me, and I need to know that they are there for me, and I need them to know that I am there for them as well. So yeah, this is more of a heartfelt vlog than last time, I think, than anything. I just kind of wanted to voice my opinions on the idea. I'm curious what you guys think about soulmates and love at first sight, and what love means to you and things like that, and whether you just have one person who you love, or whether you have 50 people who you love. Like, you know, who knows? Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it, and I love hearing people's experiences and people's thoughts on this subject in particular, because, you know, I was always a bit of a daydreamer when I was little, you know, dreaming of the perfect man, and dreaming of, like, the perfect, you know, idea of love and things like that, and being swept off my feet by Prince Charming and taken away and blah blah blah. Not quite Disney princess-ish, more like we'd go on adventures and kick butt together, but you know what I mean. And it's never that straightforward. You might think you found the one, and, you know, you might even be married for 20 years and then realise they're not the one. You know, it's all about a test of time, but, you know, there is someone out there that will make you happy, whether they make you happy for 5 years or 20 years or 50 years or for a lifetime. Who knows? But, you know, there's no wrong way to do it, and that's the beautiful thing about love. It's just there. It just exists, and it's just a really nice, warm, happy, butterfly, fluttery feeling, and you just gotta grasp it by both hands and just keep it close to you, and just remember that everybody can love and be loved, and there's no wrong way to do it. And yeah. Yeah, that went soppy. Again, they always end a bit soppy, my vlogs. That's all from me for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog. It didn't really have much of a direction to it. I just kind of wanted to talk about the topic for a bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.